very special attorney who's going to be speaking. Special because he's a friend of mine, and he has helped me tremendously by calling him up, teaching with him, working with him. He has promised my children I would buy animals for them, and I haven't, and so I've been yelled at. But you're going to be in for a real treat, because Rick is one of those people who has had the ability, the dedication to get someone off death row, an innocent man. He's also handled well over 17 death penalty cases, particularly federal death penalty cases, and has no one on death row. He often gets appointed to cases outside of his jurisdiction when they know that they need someone who's really going to do the good job and the right job for them. On the other hand, one thing you need to know when you look at him, he's the first person that I met when I was at this college who had the courage to admit to me that before they start a trial, they want to go into the bathroom because they think they're going to throw up. And then after they go in there, they're able to come back out. He's real, he's human, and because of that, he's one of the best lawyers I know, and if you can talk to him, you'll probably be a great friend to him. Rick Hayman.
In the movie Bull Durham, and there's a point to this, the rookie pitcher gets called up to the big leagues, and the old grizzled catcher, played by Kevin Costner, is sort of giving him some last words of advice, and he says, "Son, when you get up there, those big league hitters for a while are going to light you up like a pinball." And I understand in talking to folks that some of you guys, when dealing with the actors last week, got lit up like pinballs. That happened to anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Any of you leave feeling like, you know, some of the actors had got to you, shelled you, sent you to the showers? Come on, be honest. Well, those days are fucking over now. Starting tomorrow, you're going to begin kicking witness ass. Every single one of you. And we've been talking about demonstrative exhibits, visual aids, things to get us through the trial. And I want to give you something that deals with impeachment, a visual aid that will get you through this, that will give you the courage to kick those people's ass. Behold, the Georgia peach. We're talking about impeachment. And we have mints. Now, some would say it's a peach, but I ask you to use a little imagination. Could it be something else? You said fun. There you go. And we have these mints. Think of them not as mints, but of questions. And you know, there are times when you are impeaching a witness where you want to put those questions where the sun don't shine. And you just want to do it with question after question after question. So when you see those actors tomorrow, just call them, "Hi there, Peachy." Because tomorrow, you're you're starting to put those questions where the sun don't shine. And here's how we're going to do it. See if I can work this subject. Subjects for impeachment. Now we get the actual content. We'll come back to the peaches later. It's always fun to play with food. You know, it's a Gallagher kind of thing. If you guys wearing raincoats, you might want to get them.
I had no idea Gallagher was coming.
Subject for impeachment. Prior inconsistent statements. That's one of the things, and the main thing we're going to be dealing with. Prior inconsistent actions. The witness behaved differently and in a way that is not appropriate given the testimony. The subject of impeachment. Omissions from statements and reports. How many of us have, you know, the cop, you've got all the cop statements, all the 302s, all this stuff, and, well, counsel, I forgot to put your client's confession in there. I was busy. And that never happened to anyone else, because it sure as hell has happened to me. Criminal history. We won't mess with that too much, because you know how to do that, but it's there. An inconsistency with the actions or statements of another witness. Each one of those items are appropriate subjects for impeachment. Now, when to impeach? Their NCDC has 3 rules for when to impeach. If you know these 3 rules, you are halfway there. Halfway to putting the questions. Rule number 1, you only impeach when it advances your theory or your theme of the case. That is the only time. There are times witnesses will lie in a way that helps you. You don't want to impeach them. The goal is not to show how good a lawyer we are. The goal is to win the case. Rule number 2. Only impeach when it advances your theory or theme of the case. And rule number 3, you may be surprised to learn, is only impeach when it advances your theory of the case. I believe this, we believe this so much that I want you to say it out loud together. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Only when it advances your theory or theme of the case.
Brothers and sisters, come forward and drink the Kool-Aid. Preparing for impeachment, how to do it. You know, in some respects, this is pretty superficial because it really involves, you got to prepare. You've got to prepare the shit out of it. And you've got to really prepare stuff critically and analytically, looking at every document, every item, every bit of discovery, everything you assemble from your investigation. And then, and we'll discuss this in a number of contexts, you take a step back. Because the good stuff we know about life isn't generally on the pieces of paper. It's in our life experiences. And so you have to ask yourself, what's not here that should be here? And what, just based on my life experiences, do I know about this person or this situation that I can make a reasonable guess about what's going on and what should be You have to listen hard to direct examination. And I am as guilty of this as anybody. You know, we go into trial, we're prepared, we've mapped out the cross, we think we know what the direct is going to be, and I miss the really subtle little thing, and it's kind of the oh shit moment in normally the prosecutor's redirect, when I sort of mentally summing up after cross, and the prosecutor's on his 5th or 6th question, I go, oh shit, I forgot that. You got to really pay attention to that. And you've got to be flexible. You know, there are cops, lots of cops, who will lie just because that's all they do, even when it hurts their case. There are cops, FBI and stuff, who will lie in a way that hurts their case. And when that happens, you've got to be flexible enough to deviate from the game plan and maybe drop whole sections of your cross-examination, your impeachment, and on occasion, drop the whole thing and just let it go because it helps. So listening hard and flexibility is one of the most important aspects of impeachment, next to preparation. And remember the 3 rules of when to impeach. Oh, let's say it with me.
Only when it advances your theory or theme of the case.
And then you have to answer the question. And this is a serious conversation you have to have with yourself, with your trial partner, with whoever's assisting you with the case. Is the witness that you're going to impeach mistaken or lying? And that's a real difference. Creating this fancy shit, you're going to have to look at it, whether you point to it or not. You know, for the first 10 years I was a lawyer, I just assumed that every person the prosecution called was engaged in a conspiracy to frame my client. You know, and so little old ladies, who just wandered into the house and found the body, who were completely innocent. Like, you're a lying bitch, aren't you? It was, I just screamed all the time. It was nuts. But then the drugs kicked in. A few years of therapy, and I'm better most of the time. So, if the witness is mistaken, say on an identification log, before take the simple thing. The light was red, they said before the light was red, now they say the light was green. But they're just mistaken. It's just the innocent kind of mistake people make when they're nervous. You don't have to be hostile. In fact, you shouldn't be hostile. It can be a very gentle process. Be the witness. Now, Mrs. Marker, several months ago, you gave a statement. And, you've been going about your business and your life since then, right? After all, you were just a witness. True. And so, but I haven't had a chance to think about this very much. No. I'm going to bet that the prosecutor never took the time to show you your prior statement. Did he? No. Now, you told the jury today that the light was green. Yes. But in your prior statement, you remember telling us, or telling the investigator, that the light was red? Well, let me show it to you, and assume you did. You told him the light was red. That's great. And that was your memory at the time, wasn't it? Okay. It doesn't have to be hostile. It doesn't have to be mean. She doesn't have to be lying. She can just be mistaken today. It happens. And it happens all the time. And you can bring out that she's nervous, and you can bring out all the other stuff, but the point is, it doesn't have to be loud, it doesn't have to be aggressive, it doesn't have to be anything other than a nice lady who's come to court who's made a mistake. But however, let's assume you've decided that the witness is lying. And just because my friend Ali is sitting in the front row, well, Mr. Ali, you told us today the light was green.
That's correct.
Do you remember giving a statement to the police 2 months ago?
Yes, I do.
Meeting with an officer?
Yes.
Meeting with an officer who told you it was important for you to be thorough?
Yes.
Told you it was important to be accurate?
Yes.
Who told you it was important to be polite, complete?
Sir.
And me to be polite? You remember that?
Yes.
And then you got arrested.
Yes.
And you were in some trouble. Little. You had a kilo of cocaine, a bag of heroin, and you were looking at some pretty serious time, right?
Right.
And now you come to court today, and you look at this jury and you tell them the light was green.
Yeah.
Different cross. Same content, with the exception of his drug usage. Different tone, different demeanor, different style. One we're being nice, this is a nice woman who's made a mistake. This is a lying snitch. And you have to decide that in advance. It is your decision. It is not their decision. It is a decision you make depending upon what you believe the truth to be and what is best for the case. Now, you may believe that this woman is lying her ass off. But if it is best for the case to treat her as though she were mistaken, do it. It is all about what is best for the case. Now, all of this, if you have to have one book, the book you need to have, I think I brought, is Dodd and Posner, Science and Techniques of Cross-Examination. If you don't have it, I would really urge you to get it. By two former faculty members, Larry Posner and Roger Dodd. And it's published by Mitchell. It is the Bible for cross-examination, besides calling, former students, my pal Steve Lindsay, Tony Natali, Bert Shostak, some of the others. When I have a thorny problem, I will consult this book, because it will help you through any cross-examination problem you might have. And none of what I'm telling you is original to me. It basically comes from Dodd and Posner and other faculty members. But I package it perhaps a little bit differently. Dodd and Posner talk about 8 steps to impeachment. And I think that's about 5 too many as I would explain it, and I would visualize it. I think there are 3. The first is tying the witness to the statement you want to discredit, generally the courtroom statement. Shorthand, we call that recommitting the witness. Then you've got what we'll call the truthful statement, generally one of the prior inconsistent statements. And you want to demonstrate why the witness, and that the witness, had the opportunity and the motive to tell the truth in the prior statement. And then the third step is the easiest. and you give the jury the truth, you complete the impeachment. It's 3 steps. Recommit, accredit, complete. Now, what's often not recognized is that they don't necessarily have to come in one order. And this is what I call the theater of impeachment, because one of the things you learned last week, the thing you're learning this week, is that you are persuaders. We are attempting to persuade, and we do that not only with the power of our language and our presentations, but through the theater of it, to make it understandable to the jury. And you can, of course, do recommit, accredit, and tell the truth. And that's essentially what we did up here. I asked her, today you said the light was green. You had this prior statement in which you said the light was red. You gave a statement, essentially you gave a statement, and you gave a statement knowing it needed to be thorough, accurate, and complete, and all of that, and you filled it in. And then in that prior statement, you said the light was red. And that's the 3 steps. But you don't have to do it that way. You could tell the truth, recommit, and then accredit. For example, Rose, just be the witness. There was a time prior to today when you told the police the light was red. True?
Yes.
Today, you are telling the jury the light is green.
Yes.
I want to take you back now to the circumstances under which you told the authorities the light was red. And let's discuss those, and then you flesh those out. So you can make the order different. Or you can accredit, tell the truth, and then recommit. Amanda, just say yes. Several months ago, you gave a statement to the police, and they were nice to you, and they told you it was important for you to tell the truth, and they helped you and supported you because you were upset, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you told them the light was red. Today, you're saying the light is green. You can change the order depending upon what you believe the case needs. Now, the most traditional is recommit, accredit, and tell the truth. That's the one that's the easiest to fall into. Mr. Witness, today you're telling the jury the light was green. Today you're telling the jury about the confession. Today you're telling the jury about whatever. Let's go back to a time when you said something different, yada, yada, yada. And when you gave that prior statement, that's what you told them. But you don't have to do it that way. You absolutely have the flexibility to switch up the building blocks depending upon what you think the case needs and what you believe will be most persuasive. And my guess is that the actors who have been here for many, many years are going to be surprised as shit if you change them up on them. So don't be afraid to do it. Now, recommitting the witness is, it's fancy language for today you're telling the jury X, whatever X is. And I will tell you that there are probably several different opinions on whether to do this and how to do this. Certainly there is a school of thought that says, look, it's bad shit. If the jury, if it was witness on the fact that, green versus red, there is no reason to remind the jury that just a few minutes ago they heard the light was green. Or they heard a few minutes ago that your client confessed, or they heard a few minutes ago whatever it is you're going to impeach. And certainly that is a legitimate school of thought. Notions of primacy and recency. Why remind the jury of bad facts? Yet other people say, no, you really got to tie the witness, to make the impeachment have substance, to make it not be an intellectual exercise, but a persuasive exercise. You have to really get the witness committed to what they said in court, because you know you're going to pull the rug out from them. And I can tell you my view, and my view may be the same or different than Tony's or Steve Lindsay's or Shella's. My view is, this is going to be bold and aggressive. It depends. It depends on, how's that? If I can go out on a limb. Big time criminal lawyer. It depends. Do what you think is best. End of speech. No. What the hell do I know? No, the point is, every case, every witness, every situation is different. And so there are times when, in order to make the impeachment have real persuasive punch and real power, you've got to really tie the witness as closely as possible to his or her testimony. Let's assume I know I'm going to get him. I know I've got a dead bang crusher impeachment. He says today the light was green, under oath in front of a federal grand jury. 6 months ago, he promised God and country the light was red. And and he's a snitch and all of that. There I may say, now look at the jury. You told the jury on direct examination in response to the prosecutor's questions, the light was green, didn't you? Say it again. The light was green, wasn't it? No question about it. That's the honest to God's truth. So help you God. Let's go back 6 months ago. That's one way to do it. Now, you've got another thing where the woman is mistaken. Why, sort of pummel her with it? You may conclude, you may do it like, the jury has heard your direct examination. And I'm certain you were doing your best. I want to take you back now to the prior statement you gave to the police, where you don't recommit her to it. You don't have to do it. But if you decide to do it, you want to tie the witness to the testimony as closely as possible, given the magnitude of the impeachment. If it's really good stuff and you know you can really get them, if you know you can stick the questions where the sun don't shine, then you want to really tie them to it. If it's going to be a more gentle impeachment, you may not want it. Now, crediting the prior statement. This is the art of it. This is where it happened. And I want to collectively brainstorm something, because what we're trying to do is take away every possible excuse the witness has for making the prior inconsistent statement. So what are excuses we have heard from witnesses over the years, cops, witnesses, about why something was said that was wrong or why something wasn't in a report? Help me.
I was too busy.
I was too busy.
It's just a summary.
It's just a summary. It wasn't, I only write down the important facts. I just don't recall saying that. What else? Yeah, I'm sorry? They never write out of state. Different situation, okay? What else? What other excuses do witnesses have? The cops didn't ask me. I think I told the officer that. He didn't write it down. I don't know why it wasn't there. I didn't realize it was important. What other excuses can you think of? Wasn't my job to write it down. What else? Oh, come on. I wasn't the investigating officer. Not my job. What else?
I made a mistake.
I made a mistake. What else?
I forgot.
I forgot. I forgot your client confessed. What else?
They misunderstood.
They misunderstood me. I misunderstood the confession. What else? And these are all legitimate. We'll get all of them.
There was a language barrier.
There's a language barrier. What else? So much was happening. I was just so overwhelmed. Okay, what else?
80% complete.
It's 80% complete. 20% long. What else? I'm sorry?
I file those details in my head.
I keep the important facts in my head.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Now, here's what's not on the page. Here is where we have to use our knowledge of the world. Because to accredit the statement, you have to take away, before you get to the impeachment, or, in a way that you know you can get there, you have to take away all the excuses. And you do it in the one fact per question method that you were working with last week. And you have to be slow, you have to be patient. If you try and do this too quickly, it'll get screwed up. And instead of the actor or the witness being the peach, you will be. Not a good feeling. You did that last week. We're done with that shit. Time for payback. Now, before you start questioning, in your preparation, you sit down and you think about and ask yourself this question. How is this witness going to fuck? Okay? Seriously, how is this witness going to fuck? And you think of every possible excuse the witness can come up with to explain why it wasn't there. Now, obviously, if the witness is, Bev, the nice lady who's just made a mistake, her way of fucking us is going to be different than the lying snitch. But you think it through in advance, and then you begin closing the doors step by step. So, you're demonstrating that the witness had the opportunity and motive to tell the truth. Opportunity and motive to tell the truth or make the report complete, whatever it is. Now, supposing the witness has given prior testimony. That's the easy part. It's the fun part. This is fun. This is the most fun you can have with your clothes on. Mr. Witness. You, yes. Yeah. 6 months ago, you appeared before a federal grand jury in this courthouse, right?
Yes.
Took an oath?
Yes.
Same oath you took today?
Right.
Oath to tell the truth?
Right.
The whole truth?
Yep.
Nothing but the truth?
Right.
So help you God.
Right.
You understood that oath.
I did.
You understood that that oath obligated you to be honest
Yes.
and to be complete
Correct.
and accurate.
Right.
So you use that oath not in one question, but in as many questions as you can make it. Depositions, same thing. In Florida and Indiana and other states, you may have the right to take depositions in criminal cases. Mr. Witness, you gave a deposition.
Yes,
And you took an oath and all that bullshit, right?
right,
But the prosecutor was there,
yes,
and I was there,
Yes.
and it was in the prosecutor's office.
yes,
And the prosecutor told you what it was a deposition,
yes,
and he or she told you, you had an obligation, it was like court testimony.
right,
You had an obligation, besides the oath, to be thorough, right?
yeah,
Accurate,
Yeah.
complete, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You begin to close the doors. And, you know, we told you that you could take a break at any time if you, right?
yeah,
And we told you that if you didn't understand the question, you could stop us and make us re-ask it.
right,
And at no time did you ask us to re-ask a question, did you?
no,
And after it was all over, you were given the deposition and told to review it, right?
right,
And make any changes you thought were warranted
yes,
and sign it.
right,
And you made no changes,
right,
but you did sign it.
yeah,
You begin to shut the doors. And you take away all the bullshit excuses. You didn't ask the question, I didn't understand the question, I didn't think it was important. You know, you begin to take that away. Well, those are easy. Prior testimony is easy. Victims and witnesses. Now, think about it. Victims and witnesses' excuses. I was afraid. Everything was happening so fast. The cops were in a hurry. What other victim witnesses' excuses? I was in shock. What else? Nobody told me it was important. I didn't think to do that. They didn't ask me the question. Think about what we want to have happen. If it were our mother, or our grandmother, or our brother, or our sister who was legitimately a witness to a crime. Madam Witness, I'm sure that when the police got there after you were robbed, you were very shaken up.
Oh, yes,
You must have been terrified.
big
Guns, big guy, took all your money, very frightened.
Right.
And you told the policeman you were afraid.
Yes, I did.
And he did everything he could to calm you down.
I guess.
He had you sit down,
Yes.
offered to get you some water or a soft drink,
Yep.
reassured you now that because he was a policeman, you were safe.
Yes.
You certainly saw he was in uniform.
Yes.
You saw the gun,
Yep.
the badge,
Yep.
the radio, and all the other police stuff.
Yep.
And you understood, and in fact, other officers came as well.
Yes.
And at some point, I'm going to guess that a victim's assistance person came to help you as well.
Yes.
And then the police began, at some point in this, to ask you to describe the man who robbed you.
That's correct.
And you understood that the reason they wanted to do that, and they probably explained to you, in fact, that they wanted to get out a description as soon as possible.
Right.
And so they asked you to tell them everything you could remember.
Really.
You understood? It hasn't been confrontational. It's acknowledged her fear. It's acknowledged everything. And yet, in the real world, something along this line happens. The cops do try and calm people down. They do try and reassure them that they're safe. They do all those things. And then they do say, we really need this information, you know, as quickly as possible. And the words don't have to be exact. The words don't have to be exact. If the witness says, well, I'm not sure that they said that, well, you understood, fuzz it up a little bit. You understood that's what they meant. They said, you know, we're here to help you, or words to that effect. When they try to fight with you, they didn't say that, or words to that effect. And you begin to take away the excuses. You do take away the excuses. You bring out that the witness understood the importance of being accurate and as thorough as possible. And certainly with cops and experts report, my mantra is thorough, accurate, and complete. And when you learn, as you will, how to use those terms, thorough, accurate, and complete, you'll have situations, and I've seen it, I've heard about it before it ever happened to me, I've heard about it from others, and we sometimes we're cross-examining the same cops over and over again. We kind of know them, right? The same homicide guys, the same drug guys, whatever our practice is. I had a case once where, guy just basically invented some shit. There's no other way he just invented it. So I'm like frothing at the mouth, waiting for cross-examination. We take a recess, and he's out there, and he looks at me, and he says, "You're really going to fuck me, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, hard. There ain't no jelly coming. I'm going to tap you Now, impeachment with omissions, that really comes from the report. You have to establish that either by professional duty or circumstances, the witness must have understood the importance of providing complete, detailed information. If it's in a report, is this the person who was supposed to put the stuff in the report? Somebody said, not my responsibility, and that may well be a fair cop-out for some witnesses. If it is the first officer on the scene, he or she has the responsibility to only put certain information in the report. And if what they were told was, all that happened is I got there, I replaced the crime scene, the witness told me that the assailant fled on foot to the west, and it wasn't his job to get a description, you can't really fault him that he didn't get a description. But if he comes in with a description later on, then apparently it was his job, and then it should be in his report. And I hit the wrong button. The document or report was the appropriate place. Skip one. The document or the report was the appropriate place for that information to be. And you really need to read the fine point of all those little police bullet, things that have the little entries. Height, weight, hair color, that sort of stuff. And really read those very critically. And the final part is, under the circumstances at the time of the making of the document or report, the matters were known and were known to be important. Officer. Officer, yes. You understood from your training and experience the importance of providing thorough information about what a suspect looked like, right? That's something you've learned through your journey through police life. That's shorthand for about 20 minutes of cross-examination. And you understood that when you put out a description, your brother and sister officers will be relying on that to try and to catch the suspect. And you understood that it has to go in your report. And that report and that description needs to be thorough, correct?
Correct.
Accurate, and complete. Now, how many of you are thinking, well, wait a second, the officer's going to say, well, I only put in the important shit. Or, you know, you're thinking, I only put in the important shit. Okay, so, get me with it. Fuck me. It's okay. So you understand that it's important to be thorough.
It's supposed to put in the most important.
Okay, so the most important matters of the description are hair color, right? Skin tone, eye color, approximate height, approximate weight. Well, and you would want to get it, isn't that correct?
Yes.
But you want to get it because putting out a description of an assailant of unknown height, weight, hair color, or skin color isn't terribly useful, is it? No, not if you don't have any of those things. And if you say put out a APB for a black man, and that's all there is, it's not very useful, is it? Or a white man, right? You need as much information as possible. And that's why you want to be as thorough as possible. You're going to get them there. And then the guy says, well, I only put in the important stuff, right? I only put in the important stuff. You can always loop it back on. So, it wasn't important to you about what the assailant looked like.
No, it was.
It was important. You're going to get there. Don't let these superficial excuses scare you. Take a step back. Think through how the witness is going to try to catch you, and do it to them first. You take it away from them. These excuses are, for the most part, bullshit. Now, is anybody thinking, and it's okay, wait a second, where this is too easy, because let's talk about it. We got a few minutes. Is anybody thinking, now come on. I know you don't want to get home, but this is important stuff, because this is where we live as criminal lawyers. Yes?
Yeah, I mean, something like a description, I think, you have to learn. Something like, let's say, you come in to court and say that the witness made something, bad statement. It's not reflected in the
A bad statement like what?
like I just where there are three guys in the car, and I took them out of the car and said, what's in this bag? They say, my guy said, it's a gun.
And that's not in a report.
Not me.
Okay. Same thing. Officer, we established the importance of reports in general, etc. And one of the things that's important to document is who says what. True?
That's true.
Who says what can be very important to both you and to the prosecutors in knowing how to charge an individual, right? Knowing who's responsible for what when there's more than one person arrested. Because you certainly wouldn't want the wrong person to be saddled with the gun. True? You understand that other people besides yourself make use of reports. The prosecutor, your superiors, etc., etc., etc. You take away the excuses, and the point which, at the end, it's not in the report, his obligation to be thorough, accurate, and complete demonstrates, and his knowledge of that obligation, and the fact that he does that every day of his police life, demonstrates that this story is bullshit. Same with experts. I mean, with doctors. You know, it's not in the medical records, it's not in stuff, and then all of a sudden they trot it out. Same thing. Why are medical records important? They're important so you know what you did. They're important so you know what you didn't do. They're important because all the other doctors who look at the patient know what's been done, what hasn't been done. Think through why these things are important and take these excuses away from the witnesses. And each one of you knows how to do it. You know how to do it from your experience as lawyers. You know how to do it from your experience of going through life. There is nothing particularly difficult or magic about this. If you think about it, every situation in life repeats itself. You say, well, I don't know the answer. But you do. A cop, where are you from, sir?
DC.
A cop in D.C., you know, is not going to do things that much differently than a cop in Indianapolis, who is not going to do so much things differently from where do you live? From Massachusetts. Or from Oregon. I mean, police work is basically police work. It may vary about what they call the reports or how things work on the margins, but the details, the nuts and bolts are the same. And so you know how to do it, and when you are stumped, think of a movie or a play or something where the scene you wanted is reenacted, and that's your guide. Those are the touchstones for your book. And then you maximize the damage. And then you maximize the damage. And you can do it in 100 different ways based upon what you believe is right for the case. You can do it with tone. You can certainly be, well, Mr. Witness, you're a lying sack of shit, right? We can agree you're a lying sack of shit. That's one tone. And there's nothing wrong with it if it's the right tone for the witness. But you can also, even with the lying sack of shit, you told us today that the light was green. 6 months ago, you appeared in a federal grand jury. And you took an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help you God. And you said, I do. Language, tone. You can be angry, sad, disappointed, lost, loud, soft, gentle. You can be and use the tone you think is appropriate that reflects your sense of what the situation needs. It is your show. You are in control. You can show your feelings. You know, we train you, and it is absolutely right that you want to be in control of the witness. And one of the ways we control witnesses with our eyes. You were sworn to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, etc.
Yes.
Assume this is the jury. And you lie. Right? Look at the jury. They're your audience. Maximize the damage. Charts. You know, you have the witness who's told story number 1, story number 2, story number 3, story number 4. That is absolutely paradise. But you have to go slowly, you have to go methodically, you have to do it right. I mean, you know, we've all seen the cases where the progression is, I don't know nothing about no robbery, to, 8 statements later, well, I was with Charles when he shot the bitch, and he said he was going to shoot more bitches. Okay. Now, there's a lot of work in that, in setting it up, but when you've got a chart and showing the progression and showing the timeline and all of that, it's very cool stuff. And it will not take long before the witness is just saying yes, 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 because they just want the fuck out of it. computer age, we live in, you know, we have this stuff, and, you know, if you really want to be sophisticated and all that happy shit, you know, with trial director and all that, it's just a more elaborate way of doing what we do with, you know, a whiteboard or a piece of paper or whatever. It's whatever it takes to maximize the damage. And whatever other exhibits. You know, you may want to say, Mr. Witness, for every lie you tell, I'm going to put a mint in a peach. Because we call it impeachment. So let's start with the first lie you told. You appeared before a federal grand jury, right? Swore to tell the truth, all that stuff, and it turned out that was a lie. That's one. This can be a visual aid or something like it. You don't have to spend a lot of money. $1.75 for the mints, or whatever the hell Kroger's charged, and 49 cents for the peaches. And it's a visual aid that's perhaps seared on some of your retinas, like a nuclear holocaust. The point of all of this is go for the throat. Go for the jugular. Impeachment is a form of combat. When we get in the courtroom and there is a witness who is mistaken, we may want to crush her gently. We may want to bend her to our will, you know, with some dignity and grace. But we certainly want our version to come out. If the witness is a lying cop, a lying witness, a snitch, it is our obligation to crush them like a baby seal. I'm telling you, it's combat, and we're in it to win. How's that for closing?